Hello and welcome to day 5 of the Facebook Live series here inside of Social Media Manager Startup. I am Danielle Welch and I am so excited to get into today's material because today we're going to be covering a lot of things that I find that people get concerned about before they start a business, and particularly a social media management business. So we're going to dive right in. I have a list today of notes, so you guys will be very happy about my organizational skills because a few of my videos I've just kind of gone off cuff a little bit, and I like doing that a little bit. I like kind of just flowing and seeing where the conversation goes. But if you guys are here and live with me, make sure that you drop a comment, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. Also, want to know what position you're in. Are you just watching and just hanging out with me today, or are you someone that is wanting to start their own business? Are you wanting to become a social media manager perhaps? If so, then let me know who you are and why you're here with me. So I'm going to dive right into it. Today I do have the door locked, so my 4.5-year-old should not pop in on us. That did happen the other day and it was fun. But we should be ready to rock and roll. So top concerns about becoming a social media manager. So a lot of these concerns I had. And so what I want to do is I want to share what the concerns are and then maybe just give you an alternate perspective, right? Because I think sometimes when we have worry or doubt or fear in our own minds about doing something or becoming something or a situation, sometimes all it takes is an outsider's perspective on that topic, on that concern or that situation to help kind of free us up in our mind to believe a little bit more in what it is that we want to do, right? And so, like for me, I know I've mentioned this in a couple of my videos, but my husband and I, we began getting mentored by a couple here in Kansas City over 7 years ago. And having Paige, my mentor, be somebody that I can go to for literally anything in life, but definitely and specifically when it comes to one or two, both of our businesses that Josh and I have together, just getting her perspective on things has been a key pillar for us having any amount of quote unquote success with this business as my social media business or with our other company. Just having that perspective, because it's like, you know, you go through this world, and social media, unfortunately, just on a human basis, like has kind of isolated us, right? Like we're more connected now than we've ever been, but we're connected through a piece of glass and some plastic and heavy duty metal, right? There's not as much verbal, like back and forth communication. So to get someone else's perspective, like I can get with Paige by just picking up the phone or sending her a text message and saying like, hey, I'm concerned about this, and starting this new business venture. What are your thoughts? What do you see? So a lot of times when we have concerns or fears or doubts about something, you just need someone on the outside who might see things differently to help you to be at ease, right? And maybe feel a little bit more confident in making the decision to start, or maybe their perspective, you know, is more going to provide you the caution that needs to be in place. But today, like I said, I'm going to take my shoes off actually because I want to get comfortable. I'm at home in my own office and I have shoes on. I don't even understand why. But anyways, let's get into the top concerns and I'll kind of share my perspective on them. Some of them, just as my disclaimer, like some of the concerns I don't have personal experience with overcoming. And so I might point you in the direction of somebody, or I know inside of my group coaching program, I'm going to bring in an expert to talk about it. So you'll know what that is here in a minute. This is not me giving you advice, guys. This is me just sharing kind of my experience. So hear it from that lens, right? Excuse me. All right. Number one concern that I hear about people starting their own social media management business, whether that's doing it part-time outside of their full-time job, whether that's they're a stay-at-home mom currently and they want to create more income for their family, or they're working full-time and they want this to be their full-time thing, right? Becoming a social media manager, let that be full-time. So number one concern is making money. The thought of, well, I don't know how, like, I'm concerned about if I start this and I put all this time and energy into learning how to become a social media manager and taking the time to get studied up on that, because you don't learn it overnight. You definitely, it takes some time to learn how to become a social media manager. I think that concern a lot of times comes from a place of not like it's. I just think like for me, not making money was a concern because I wanted to provide for my family. So it's a very valid concern, right? So what I would like to encourage you to do is, instead of thinking about, I'm worried about not making money if I start to do something like this, I want you to start to say to yourself, I believe in my ability and my authentic desire to help people with the services that I know I can help them have. I believe in my ability to serve my clients. I believe in what it is that I want to do, right? So, because if you have a worry and you think about a worry or a concern like not going to make enough money or I'm not going to make any money, then you're going to feed that worry. So then what's going to happen is your focus is on the worry or the doubt, and it's not focused on the creative side of, okay, well, how do I make that money come, into my business? So if you're now focused on, I believe in what I'm doing, I believe in the services that I have, I believe in my authentic desire to help people with my services as a social media manager, I believe in that, then you are kind of tricking your mind in a way to focus on looking for opportunities to exercise that belief. Does that make sense? So instead of feeding your worry, feed your belief. Instead of feeding your fear, feed your faith, right? So that's always number one. As far as like a technical side of things, like as a social media marketer, like businesses need our help now more than ever. Think about just this entire year that we've had, 2020. It's been freaking nuts, right? Like, and some people are like, there's still, like 3 months left in the year. Like, what else is going to happen? And I'm like, okay, well, let's not focus on that. Like, yes, be prepared, but don't worry about the next 3 months. And if Godzilla is going to come out and, all of this crazy stuff, it's like, business owners have to focus on their day-to-day operations, the never-ending changes, that they're getting just in their local community for keeping their doors open. So they don't have a lot of time to really focus on the social media side of things or strategy and continuing to grow that. I mentioned in my last video, or the one right before that Facebook's about to make a major overhaul, and they're starting to do it. Some of you, if you're logged in on your desktop, you might see those changes. Well, how are small business owners going to know how to navigate the new platform unless social media managers get out there and we show them how, right? So if your concern is not making money, well, let me tell you, people are looking to pay for the services that you can offer them as a social media manager, okay? I see it all the time. Inside of my group coaching program, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to find clients, where to find them, how to connect with them, how to sell yourself into a relationship with a entrepreneur, small business owner, someone that you can manage your clients with. So number one concern is making money. The first thing that I have as a recommendation that I had to start to do was, instead of worrying about not making money, I had to start to kind of declare and affirm myself that I believe in what I want to do. I believe in my quality. I believe in my services. And this is when I was first starting, you guys. Like, I wasn't that great of a social media manager, but I believe in my ability to serve people. So if you worry about not making money, believe me, you won't make money. But if you focus on, that you will, and you declare that you're going to make money in your business, give it a specific amount, you're going to start to put your energy towards that. Okay, I'm reading a book right now, You're a Badass at Making Money. And, well, I'm not reading technically. I'm listening on Audible because it's a really good book to like listen to while you're walking around the house, or like me last night mopping my floors. So if you have a money mindset block, that's a great book to read. My business coach in this group coaching program that I'm a part of right now inside of Activate with Rachel Ingom, we're reading that as a group, and it's like for me right now. Okay, that's top concern number one, is making money. Top concern number two is finding clients. or being seen and found. Okay, so I'm going to separate those two because it's all around clients and getting them. But one of the concerns that people have is finding the client. So where are they hanging out? Where do they live, right? Well, that's one thing you have to do there is they're out there for sure. We know that they are. I don't know the exact statistic of how many small businesses there are in North America, but there's a lot, right? So that's your potential client base, but you can't just say like all the millions of businesses out there are my potential clients. You got to get very specific. So to find your clients, you got to kind of start to really focus on what type of business do you want to focus on serving first. I know I talked about this, I think on day 1 or day 2, but I really focused in the beginning of starting my company on home service type businesses, pest control, roofers, general contractors, types of businesses that serve their local communities and they serve local homeowners or commercial buildings. Okay, that's because that's just where my jobs were. I had some skills in that. Maybe you are into real estate or interior design. Maybe your potential clients as a social media manager focuses on that type of industry. So to find clients, you got to get specific with kind of who you're going to serve, right? Now, that's more of the outbound sales, I guess you could say, or outbound prospecting for your business. You guys, just so you know, I was for 4.5 years, I was a marketing consultant, which was a really fancy term for I did sales for marketing agencies. And without sounding like super arrogant, I was really good at it. Without sounding arrogant, you guys, I was really good at it. No, I was, but I had top sales because I was not sales focused, I was relationship focused. I did not manipulate, deceive, or convince people to buy services or products that just because like I was a good talker. No, I built relationships with my clients. I helped them to find the things that they needed and the services that they needed specifically. So it was more of a relationship driven thing. Okay, so I come from experience of having a sales background. Finding clients is fun for me because it's the relationship side of things, but that's all outbound effort, okay? Where I guess in the sales world now, people are calling it hunting, where you go out and you find the clients, you find the leads. Well, then there's also the concern about what if no one sees me or I'm not found online because there's so many other people out there who do what I want to do. So that's more kind of like the inbound, right? Or like you marketing yourself and then kind of hoping when you make a post or you get active in a Facebook group of small business owners that someone sees you and then they come to you first, right? Well, here's the thing with that. I just tell people, like, if you're going to market for other businesses as a social media manager, you're going to have to first and foremost start to market yourself. And that's usually where I get some folks who are like, oh, I don't want to do that, you know, like I don't want to put myself out there. And I think a lot of times that comes, for me, that came from just a fear of failure, as well as just kind of that fear of like having to live a little bit in a glass house, you know, and there's ways around that for sure. But if you want to be seen and to be found, then you yourself are going to need to make sure that you put yourself out there. You market yourself. And inside of my group coaching program, I'm going to be talking about on an individual basis, specifically how my students are going to market themselves, because how Danielle markets herself to her audience for when I want to work one-on-one with small businesses as their social media manager is different how Sean is going to do it, or Grace is going to do it, or whoever's here online with me today or watching on the replay, because we all have a different personality. We have a different desire in how we want to serve people, but that's the messaging that's going to come across. So number 3, not having enough experience in my field of being a social media manager, right? So this is a top concern. Easy answer to that, you know, for me was I had to get more educated on how Facebook was changing, Instagram was changing, how small businesses can utilize that. So I personally did a lot of research. I continue to keep myself in the know about what changes are happening on the platforms. I immerse myself in communities with other social media managers or digital marketers who are always talking about how they're utilizing the platform. So if you don't have enough experience, then all that means is that you got to put yourself out there more to learn more and to try more, which is why marketing yourself as a social media manager is going to be so important, so you can try some of those strategies that you're learning on your own stuff, right? The other thing too is not having enough experience. A lot of my first clients were honestly, a couple of them, like I charged super, super low for my services. Basically, they knew like I was wanting to get started. I was trying to build up my portfolio. I set boundaries around what I would provide them just so that I could get a testimonial from them. And lo and behold, a couple of those clients have still been with me today, almost 2 years later, and I've been able to increase them from that original rate. Some of the original people were not doing business together anymore, and that's perfectly fine because I knew like it was more of a short-term deal, so I could build up my portfolio. One thing too is that if you don't have enough experience and you need to build up a portfolio, which by the way, I didn't have a portfolio when I started, you guys. Just so you know, like I didn't. I just didn't. I had experience as a marketing consultant, but people chose to, and I know this because I asked them, people chose to do business with me as a person, not necessarily based on the previous work that I had done. I'm way better today at creating content and strategy than I was back in 2018 when I started this thing. Today, everything's a lot better, but I have about 80% of the same clients that I started with in 2018. I still have them today. Those relationships were formed based on those agreements, those partnerships were formed based on relationships that I had developed with them. Just talking to them, getting to know what their desires were, listening to them. And that's been a huge way for me to also gain experience, is just having a lot of different conversations with people who need my services. Whether I ended up working with them or not, I just talk to everybody about what I do and what I offer. Anytime someone would ask me, like, hey, what do you do for work? Well, I'm a social media manager, and outside of that, my husband and I coach and mentor people on developing passive income. So it's like they're always going to know about what it is that we do, right? Because I'm always talking about it. That's a great way for you to get experience, or going back to number 2, potentially getting a client because you're just talking about what you do all the time. So I know that can be a concern. You can also learn through courses and different programs. You do not have to have a social media certification or anything, or even a degree to become a social media manager. But it does help learning the ins and the outs of the programs, getting educated on social media strategy, how like behind the scenes, how all the AI works and how all of the platform works. Because it's intense, and it's important to know all of that, and it can be taught very easily. I have a 6-week course that I've worked with a lot of different small business owners this year that they've taken this course with me so that they can learn how to do their social media on their own. So there's awesome resources out there to get experience. All right, I need a drink. Hold on. Any questions so far? Anything that you want to make sure that I talk about here? Make sure you drop those in the comments. I got hair in my lip gloss. Okay. Whew. All right. Top concerns also that I've heard. How to get it all running, like how to launch this business, right? What I learned this from Rachel, my business coach, and she just talks all the time about take massive action in your business. You have an idea, just go do something with it, right? You may not get it all figured out in that first initial like action moment, but take action, because it is very hard to steer a parked car, right? And so now there are proper processes that you can put in place. Some legality types of things, like should you be a sole proprietor? That's another concern that people have, is the legal aspect. I need to get to that in a minute. I'm not going to try to jump ahead. But it's very valid to have the concern of like, I don't feel like I have all of my ducks in a row, so therefore I'm not ready to start yet, right? or I want to take care of X, Y, and Z in my personal life before I go and start that business, right? Well, to me, that's kind of the same thing as, like Josh and I used to say, we want to wait till we have kids until we've got our debt paid off, right? And then we got pregnant, and um, we did fine. Like, even though the debt wasn't paid off, like, we were still able to take care of things. And sometimes, in our lives, I think we want to plan. Uh-oh. It looks like, okay, let me know if you guys are still here. It's saying that it paused. I don't know. I'm probably still live and you guys just can't see me. If you guys are watching live and you can still see me, let me know because my screen's completely blank. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might. Okay, so Shauna, you can still see me? Great. Okay, well, I can't see myself, which is probably even better because I get tired of looking at myself. Perfect. Okay, thank you. I know there's a little delay too. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to pop my cell phone on at the same time because I'm recording this. And hi, Andrea. I'm still live. Okay, well, I'm going to pop my phone on too, just in case. Because I'm recording this, and such is life with technology. Thank you, Facebook. All right. Okay. I'm recording on my phone now, too. So that's great. Okay, so back to where I was. Okay, so getting a business started and getting it running and off of the ground, right? There are definitely some things that you need to have in place, but sometimes, like I was just saying before I got rudely interrupted by Facebook, that control or that desire to feel like everything's in line and in place before you go start something can also slow you down. It can cause doubt. It can be that delay can be the thing that causes doubt and fear to come in, and all these other like justifications for why you shouldn't start to creep in, right? One thing that I always recommend to people, because this is just kind of what I've done over the last several years, is I have always pursued somebody that was, 5, 6, 7, or however many steps ahead of me down the same path that I was wanting to go down, right? So developing passive income. My husband and I, we pursued mentors who had created full-time passive income outside of what they did at their full-time jobs. They're completely out of the employee system, right? They live their life on their terms and based on their value systems. So I follow in their footsteps. I learn from them, right? That's one example. So I learned how to launch that business and develop it and scale it over time. Same thing with my social media management business, or really just taking this business online here in 2020, where I'm doing a lot more like virtual courses, Facebook Lives. Like, I work with Rachel Ingome. She's a business coach that I'm working with, who's taught me how to take the business from just local working with small business owners through email and phone calls and meeting with them in person to really being able to duplicate myself and scale this business. So I'm learning from other people who have gone before me. That's one of the greatest things I think as entrepreneurs that we have access to, is this world of being able to be so connected. We can learn and get ideas from other people, right? Now, here's the thing. I hear people all the time talking about how, they're mentored by Dean Graziosi, or they're mentored by Tony Robbins or Amy Porterfield or whatever. And when they say that, they're not actually like mentored by them, because it's like $50,000 to $100,000 a year to get one-on-one coaching with people like that. But what they mean is that they're learning from them through YouTube videos or their courses and such, right? Which I think is awesome. I think that's great to get educated in that capacity. But also being able to have someone, though, that's a little bit maybe lower level than that, who is just a few steps ahead of you, that they can literally hold your hand, walk by you side by side down that path so that you can learn what it is that they learned, right? So that you can avoid potholes and you can avoid detours that can slow you down. So when you have that concern of, how to get it all running, or how do I get this thing launched off the ground? Like, there's a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we kind of say, like, I'm going to figure it out on my own. Why? Like, why do we do that, right? Like, why do we need to be the person that makes the new, like, awesome process or whatever? Like, if your desire and your goal is to create a certain outcome for your life, right? Why try to go 10 years to go create something when you can maybe learn from someone how to do it in 2, right? Like, I don't know. Just for me, I guess I'm the kind of person that's like, from athletics, like I just wanted to always learn from the best so I could go implement it. I didn't need to figure out how to do things on my own because I just wanted to always get better, right? And I could learn that better from other people. So that's a top concern as well. Another one is time management, how to make it work, how to balance between life, family, work. You know, maybe you've got a full-time job right now and you're wanting to get yourself into a position to be full-time as a social media manager, or maybe you want to keep your full-time job. So now you're like, okay, well, how do I start social media management business in my part-time, but I've also got this, and this going on in my life. So time management can be a huge concern. I think I talked about that the other day, but just calendar blocking is really important. Understanding what your priorities are for you and your family. Having a plan for your day and your week is going to be huge. I'm going to be doing some time management coaching inside of the program. Another concern is like spousal or partner support, right? If you are someone that's in a relationship, and like getting your partner to be on board with your vision for what you want, to do with starting a business. For me, like, thankfully my husband and I, we were already in partnership together prior to me starting my social media business. And so I'm very thankful that in the very beginning, he was fully supportive of me leaving my job, working for myself. His biggest concerns, of course, were, the lack of income if this thing didn't work, right? Like, okay, so you made X amount of dollars at your job, and so we need to make sure you make that in your business. Like, how's that going to come together? So one of my biggest recommendations to people is just have those conversations, right, with your spouse or your partner. Like, be transparent about, what it is that you're wanting to do. Yes, of course, the why. The why is so important. But a lot of times, like, your partner, the other person who they should have a say in what you're doing, unless it's like your boyfriend of like the last month or 2 months. Like, in my opinion, I don't think they need that much of a say in your business. But that is me. I'm talking like long-term relationship here. Getting their support, I think a lot of times their concern comes from a place that they just don't want to see you fail. They don't want to see you get hurt. So they want to maybe see like, what's your plan, right? So it's important to have a plan. And then just to ask, like, it is so important. Like, ask for their support. Say, there's going to be some times where I'm really excited about this. There's going to be some times when I'm really down about it. Like, my biggest thing is that I just ask that you trust me and that you support me in this. And my promise to you is that I'll communicate to you when I'm genuinely concerned about something. I'll have full transparency with you on what it is that I'm doing inside of the business, because I know anything that happens here at Obvious, it affects our relationship and it affects our family too. I think with getting support from a spouse or a partner, the key to that is just high communication. I don't go to Josh with all the doom and gloom, like, I'm not going to tell him today that during my Facebook Live, the video feed cut out and I talk to a blank screen, or I do let him know when if I lose a client, or if an idea that I was trying that I probably put about 10 hours into developing hasn't really panned out yet. Like, I do let him know those things, because he sees me working hard, and he wants to see the return on that time investment as well. Wow, I just realized how much I like grind my hands when I talk. But sometimes you might be in a relationship or a situation where your partner is a Debbie Downer, and they may be a negative Nancy, and they don't support you at all. They think what you're doing is silly or stupid or a waste of time or a waste of money, and that you should just spend time with them after work and veg out and Netflix and chill. And do all of that. Like this is a tricky one to kind of address, and I'd like to talk. If you've got a situation like that, DM me. We'll set up a time to talk because I don't want to give like broad advice here because I'm not doing that. I'm just sharing my own experience. Because that's not my experience, I don't feel confident talking about that necessarily. But I'll just say this, like, I've learned, whether it hasn't been Josh, but definitely like in my friends and my family group, when Josh and I started our business 7 years ago, learning how to develop passive income and stuff, we got a lot of flack for it. We got a lot of people who said, like, that's silly, that's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's not going to work out, like, what are you guys doing? You're gonna ruin your friendships and la da 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 da, and all these really negative things that for certain periods of our business, like, we let that take root. And I guess my encouragement is, like, if you know that what you're doing is for a greater cause and purpose than just to serve yourself, because that's what our businesses are for us. Yes, there's a financial reward for us in both of our businesses, but if you know and you believe that what it is that you're doing is going to get you where you want to go in life, it doesn't cause you to sacrifice your ethics, your morals, and you really just truly believe in it. Like, one thing I just try to encourage people is stay steady, like, keep your eyes on the vision, keep your eyes on the outcome, because you will start to see change in your life. You will start to see different levels of success. And I think a lot of times what the naysayers are looking for is that you'll quit, or that you'll take a step back and you'll validate their initial concerns for you. But what is more sweet, instead of getting it into an argument with them or like going head to head with them, I think what's actually more sweet, revenge, I guess you could say, is just winning without having to say anything. Today, Josh and I, like, when Josh and I got our other business started 7 years ago, we were $80,000 in debt. We overdrafted in our bank account every single month. We only made a combined household income of maybe $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Our friends knew us as like the party animals. Like, you wanted to go and get lit for the weekend, like, Josh and Danielle were the people to call, because we would not only pay for it on our credit cards, but we would make sure everyone had a good time. Like, that's who Josh and Danielle were. We were not very credible people. That was just who we were. It was so silly. So when we are like, hey, we're gonna start a business outside of what we do for our full-time jobs, and in a couple of years we're gonna be completely financially independent, we were so cocky, so funny. We got humbled very quick in that, but we ran our mouth a lot. But we did have a vision. We knew, like, what our vision was is we didn't want to be subjected to the 40-year plan for the next 40 years of our life. Like, we did not want that. So we got a lot of kickback. There's a lot of people who saw us and they were like, there's no way, like, they're gonna succeed at that. Oh, I give them 6 months to a year, or whatever. And fast forward to today, some of our family members, they lean on us now. Some of the same people who told us that we wouldn't succeed, or that they may not have even said it, but we could feel it. They come to us for financial advice now, because of what we've learned from our mentors. We've paid off $80,000 in debt. We've tripled our family household income. A lot of different things, like the tables have turned. And we're putting ourselves in a position to where my husband, in the next 2 to 3 years, he'll be able to completely walk away from the corporate arena. So all those things, like the tides have turned, right? Or they've changed, whatever. The tables have turned. So my recommendation, if you don't have that partner or spousal support and it's negative and things along those lines, is don't fight them. Don't try to prove your point with words. Just take action. Keep your head down, stay focused, stay humble, take the action that you need to take in your business, and actions do speak louder than words, right? So that's my biggest recommendation. Don't try to get into a fight or get yourself feeling validated by them agreeing with you. If you know in your heart you should be doing something, then do it, okay? I'm wrapping up here. Hey, Nicole, I see you, girl. Stay steady. Stay steady. So, okay, wrapping up. Last few bits of concern. Now, these are the reasons that I had to put a disclaimer on this earlier. I am not an attorney. I am not an accountant, CPA, or health and insurance benefits specialist. There's my disclaimer. But those are some concerns that come up for people when they are thinking about going full-time into self-employment. And so one of the things that comes up first is, as a business owner, what type of business entity do I need to become? Or how do I set up contracts for me and my clients to protect myself and to protect them? What about copyright laws? And how do I get all of that going? In my business, I counseled with a CPA that I know here in Kansas City. And we talked about what my business entity should look like. I'm an LLC with Bridge Consulting and Design. A lot of that, mostly I went LLC directly instead of being a sole proprietor first because I do create content on behalf of my clients. If my client gave me some, here's like the scenario that I kind of base this around. If a client of mine gives me a piece of content that they're like, hey, post this on my Facebook page right now, and I don't do my background check to see where did that content come from, or I don't ask them, and let's say they stole it from their competitor, that's copyright infringement. And because I'm the one who posted it on their behalf, I could be just as legally responsible for any settlement or lawsuit as the client would be. With the LLC, the protection on that is that my personal assets could not be seized in the event that I lost a suit or something like that. Only the business assets. So limited liability company, corporation, can't remember. But I'm set up as an LLC to protect my personal assets. That's basically why I went that route instead of just doing 1099 work on being a sole proprietor. Now, here's my recommendation. Is before you start your business, you do need to talk to someone about what makes the most sense for you and how to structure your company. Do you stay sole proprietor and you just make money on the side, or you kind of have people 1099 you, which you can get the W-9 form online, things like that. You need to talk to someone. Inside of my group coaching program that I'm going to launch at the end of the month, I will be actually having expert guest speakers come in monthly to talk about these areas: legal, accounting, taxes, benefits, all of that kind of stuff, as well as sales training, branding training, all of that. But you need to talk to someone about the business entity search, contracts, LegalZoom. There's a couple other websites that you can get templated contracts from. I'm personally going to be investing into a template from a gal named Kaylee Jacomet. She has a business called it's hard to say. It's like Contractista, like fashionista, but it's like Contractista. She's very fashionable too. I've heard lots of great things about her, so I'm checking her out to get a new service agreement for me and my clients. And then, making sure, obviously, in your contracts that you have some copyright stuff in there. So that's a concern that people have. So valid concern. My biggest recommendation is you just need to talk to somebody. Now, some folks will want to charge you for an hour of their time to figure out what all you need to have in place. Like, that's just something that you need to be prepared for in your business, is maybe that upfront investment. But if you get inside of some Facebook groups, and you just ask some general questions. Like, I like to be a part of small business owner Facebook groups because I can ask a lot of general questions like that. Hey, who in here knows an attorney that can help me determine what business entity I need to be? Or who has, stuff like that. So just ask. Accounting and bookkeeping. So that's a concern that people have, and how to do that. I'm actually very happy that I found Katie Farrow. She is the owner of Orderly Accounting. So she has a bookkeeping and kind of like an accounting business and a team of bookkeepers that she coaches, but she also does it on her own, and she also has some really great online products that I've actually purchased. I purchased her small business starter kit program. I do have a link to that if anyone wants to get access to it. But that's what I do all of my books with. I don't use QuickBooks. I don't use any of that stuff because in her small business starter kit, she teaches you how to manage your finances for your business and increase your profitability utilizing this amazing, amazing spreadsheet. But some questions that I get from people is like, okay, but how do I pay myself, right? Or like, what do I do with taxes, right? And all of that. Again, that's where you need to speak to a CPA, and you need to have conversations about, first of all, what type of business entity are you going to have, but also like, when do you need to pay yourself? How much can you pay yourself? And things along those lines. Yes, Shauna, it's Katie Farrow. I'm going to link her here. Nope, I forgot. It's at Orderly Accounting. I have to do. Shauna, I'm going to DM me, girl, or I'll do it after the deal because I'm on my business page and it's not letting me link her page. Business pages cannot tag personal pages. So silly. But yeah, so there's a lot of times that people ask questions about taxes. Like, how do you pay your quarterly taxes? Well, Katie's bookkeeping spreadsheet actually like helps you to see what you're like automatically through all these fancy formulas she has set up. Like it automatically tracks what your quarterly P&L profit and loss statements are. And then it also has like a way to kind of project what your quarterly tax payment should be. And just being a part of her community in general, she tells people like, hey, it's quarterly tax time. You need to go here. This is the steps that you take to pay that. I'm a part of her community. It's a free community, but I got access to it because I purchased the small business starter kit. So again, that's a resource for you. So concern people have is it's like, I don't know how to do the accounting. I don't know who to trust to talk about taxes. Like, there's people like me out there who can just point you into the direction of people that I've used, right? That's networking for you. Another concern that people have is like the upfront investment and cost associated with starting a business. When I started my business, I started with $0 invested into my business. And then 2 months later, I bought a new laptop because I had a MacBook early edition 2012, would not, the iOS system or the OS system or whatever wouldn't even update. I could only have open my Google Chrome or Safari. I couldn't do multiple windows. So my first 2 months into business, I didn't put any investment into it. I just worked off of an old laptop. I did a lot of stuff on my phone. But then by month 3, I got myself my new MacBook Pro, which I love. But the investment, starting, maybe, see, I designed my own website, right? Because I knew how to do that. So I designed my website. It's nothing that's fancy. It's different now, actually, 'cause I did actually pay someone this last year to revamp it for me and move it to a new platform. But having just a basic, one-page website at the very minimum at the beginning, you can do that on Wix.com or WordPress if you're super fancy. I wasn't. I had to learn how to do that. But Wix.com for like $18 or $19 a month. You'll have to buy your domain for the year. But that's like $20 a month to host and run your website, right? There's, what else? Everything I used from a social media standpoint, like I used Canva's free tool until I had enough reason to pay the $12, which is not that much. That's a Chipotle burrito bowl with extra meat and guac. But there's that investment that I had. I started my business in Kansas, so of course getting the LLC and everything, I think that was like $160 to do. So there's some things that you have to plan for, right? And I'll talk more about that inside of the group coaching program, but that's definitely a concern that comes up. So I tell people like, make a list of everything that you think that you're going to need, and then let's talk about what's actually necessary. And these are the things that I think you need to start. I'm frugal. I shop at Savers. I don't shop at Goodwill anymore. Personal reasons, ethical reasons. But Salvation Army, I love thrift shopping is my point. Love it so much that my friends tease me about it. Why do you wear someone else's clothes? That's gross. And I'm like, it's called a washing machine, okay? And it's a freaking awesome pair of pants. I don't know, shirt, whatever. I love thrifting. So I'm going to be frugal with you. I'm going to encourage you, save money, increase your profitability early in your business. And then the last concern that people have is health, dental benefits, the type of benefits that you get. Side tangent, Shauna, yes, thrift shopping is so much fun. Oh my gosh. I've been sick the last week and a half, and it's like fall season here. And so this is my favorite time to go thrift shopping because there's always like cardigans and like, yeah, I can't go anywhere for another week. So by golly, I'm going to do it. But back on topic. Well, Nicole, you should like thrift shopping because a lot of the stuff that you do with your business, like those chairs that you reupholster, yeah, I gotta send you a picture. I found this beautiful wingback armchair in wonderful condition. It was emerald green velvet, and it was at Savers for like, I don't know, I think it was $10 or $12. You could tell that the legs had been bitten by like a dog or a cat because they were all scruffed up and nothing, a little sanding and some paint couldn't cover up. I wanted to get it so bad, but I have nowhere to put it. Nowhere. So I didn't get it. But oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. So I thought of you about that, Nicole. Anyways, back on target. One last top concern, health benefits. Or like if you go full time into self-employment, you lose all those benefits of being an employee, right? Yeah, my nose is running. Here's the thing. There are a lot of people out there that are self-employed and they still have health insurance benefits. It's just a matter of knowing where to look, right? Here's the thing. I'm going to ruffle some feathers here with this statement. Read a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then read another book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. You'll understand this philosophy and this mindset around how money is made in our country, as well as why people choose to make money the way that they do. A lot of times, like, I'm not investing into real estate and doing all of that kind of stuff and starting big businesses because I don't have the money to start that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm not there yet, but I want that outcome. I want what that can provide, right? But a lot of times people stay an employee even though they want to become self-employed or move themselves to being more passive income creators. They stay as an employee because of that security in a 2-week paycheck and the benefits that they get from their company, because obviously health insurance can be a lot cheaper when you buy it through your employer because they can get it at like a group rate, all of that kind of stuff. So I get that. That is a major concern. For us in our family right now, Josh is a W-2 employee with his company that he works for, so he's an employee, so we have all of our benefits through there. But our goal is in the next year to 2 years to him vacate the employee quadrant. Don't tell his boss. Whatever. But we're going to have to look into benefits for our family. There's a lot of options out there. One of the things that we're going to be looking into is like a health share group like Liberty Health Share or the marketplace. Health insurance on the marketplace has become it's actually become pretty competitive. So there's options out there. I think, again, that's something that you can talk to. I think there's companies that are like called PEO companies. I don't remember what that acronym stands for, but they help people that are self-employed get paired up in kind of a group setting with other self-employed people to get some of those discounts that you can get from being inside of a group healthcare program. So there's those types of options out there. I do want to have someone that comes into my group and talks on that. Because I know inside of the group program, there's some people in there who they do want to migrate full-time out of their job and be full-time self-employed. So that's going to be something that gets covered. My biggest point in talking and hitting that is like there's options, right? There are options. There's solutions. You might be surprised that you can actually find that there's stuff that might be more affordable for you too outside of what your employer offers. So that's going to get hit on. And all of these things, again, like they're concerns that people have in starting their business, general business, but specifically as a social media marketer and manager, like every concern that you can have is probably valid, right? There's a reason that you're having the doubt or the fear or the concern. And my hope today in the last 50 minutes together is that I could ease some of that, right? Because all those concerns, I've had most of them too, or I've had to overcome them, or I know people that have, right? And I think one of the keys to, if you know that you want to start something, is surround yourself with people who are in the pursuit of the same thing. Maybe they're a few steps ahead of you, or maybe they're right along path. Like, find a tribe, a community that you can lean into in those moments of doubt, right? When you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't know if I can do this. It's then when you need your community, right? And that's what I'm hoping to create inside of the Social Media Manager startup community and the group program that's going to release here at the end of the month. So that's it, guys. That's all that I had for you today. I hope that this was educational. I hope it was helpful. I hope it inspires you. If I didn't cover any of your doubts or your fears or concerns about starting a social media management business, just send me a DM or post it in the group, because I want to make sure that I help you, right, to feel more at ease with getting your social media management business started, or whatever business it is that you are wanting to get rocking and rolling. Little plug here as I kind of end things. If you are here local in the Kansas City area and you are not necessarily wanting to become a social media manager, but you have more of a traditional business idea that you're wanting to bring to fruition now or here in the very near future, I am partnered up with the Do It Darling organization, which is founded by my mentor, Paige Lore. I'm also one of the co-founders in that, as well as a beautiful young lady, Katie McKinley. We started this organization oh my gosh, was it last summer? Yeah, last summer. With the desire to get into our community and help women, right? We wanted to help women to do more, whether it was in a business, for themselves. At first, it was kind of going more like ministry style, and there's still a faith aspect to it. But right now, we feel like God has us in this place where He's wanting us to open up a space and an environment for particularly women, but some of our people that we're talking to right now, it's a husband and wife duo in their business where they've got an idea and they want to see it come to fruition. They need some help in bringing it to life, right? A couple of people, like Nicole just said, she's registered. She's going to be going to that. We've got not a peanut butter company, a coffee company, a cold brew company that we've been working with. We've got a local artist. We've got some folks in there that are starting an insurance business. We've got some designers. Nicole's going to be there. She does more like upholstery design work and some other things. She's extremely talented. Nicole, drop your link in there, girl. And a lot of just cool ideas. And what we're doing October 24th here in the Kansas City area, it's going to be from 1 to 5 p.m. We're actually going to be having a business incubators masterclass. So we're going to be talking about, some of these things like setting up the bookkeeping in your business, how to market your business. But really what I'm excited about is to see little seeds of ideas in a 5-hour time frame go from just an idea where maybe it's just germinated and it's still under the soil a little bit. And in that environment, you have water and fertilizer and sunlight. And by the time that we get out of that incubator class, I really am excited to see these business owners or these future business owners just their vision grown, right, for what they can create. And we're going to have a workshop with it. There's going to be workbook materials. So information is going to be coming out on that. If you want to know about that and you're here in the Kansas City area, that's going to be an amazing, amazing environment to get into, to take your business idea and get some help in bringing it to life. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to be teaching on marketing there, as well as kind of covering some of the bookkeeping stuff that's been really helpful for me. But yeah, so anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in live and working with me on dealing with the technical issues. But anyways, God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you guys soon.